Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. This week, we have Oklahoma County Assessor candidate Nick Singer with us. He also has a non-profit that he runs, and he's my guest interview this week on Across the Desk. Hey Nick, how's it going?
It's going all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you being a guest here and taking your time to appear on the show and let my viewers know a little about you and your campaign. As I said in the open, you're running for County Assessor of Oklahoma County. How's that going?
It's going well. County Assessor isn't the sexiest race on the ballot, with governor and senate and all that sort of stuff, but it's very close to the people. It's really important if you own property or do anything that involves property taxes. The assessor is who assesses those, and we've had a lot of drama and troubles in our Oklahoma County government, and so I think it's really important on that fact too.
Yeah, the county clerk, which isn't the assessor, but they're really close together. They work together
Very
a lot,
close.
man. He's really caused a lot of drama and had to
Resign.
and everything.
Yep.
But now the assessor now, what's his issues? Does he have some issues that what do you oppose with him? I mean,
yeah.
the contrast.
So the current assessor is Larry Stein. He worked in the office under the previous assessor and as like his deputy, and then ran 4 years ago. He only won by barely 1%, so it was an extremely close election.
Oh, wow.
And he's not real notable for much except making news for making disparaging comments about the Muslim community, disparaging Black Lives Matter back when the protests were going on and things like that. So, the assessor's office has a $9 million budget, has like 70-some employees, and I think you need somebody there that is focused on what's actually important, like the job he's supposed to be doing, and less about like rank partisan politics.
Yeah, it should be, and it is pretty much, it should be, it's not a nonpartisan position, I guess. You run as a Democrat or Republican. But when it comes to assessing and all that stuff that they do, it really needs to be on an equal playing field. That 14th Amendment of equal protection ought to come into effect somehow, right?
Well, yeah, and so the assessor's job is governed a lot by state law, but there are studies that have come out that show that the assessor plays a significant role in like property values and kind of historically how properties have not been assessed fairly. So there is like a racial justice element to assessment, and so when you have an assessor who is playing into these sorts of fears and angst in our community, I think that's potentially a big problem.
Oh yeah, that is a big problem. And I can see things, not that we're New York, but where Trump has gone in and hey buddy, let me slip you a little something, and maybe you can make these properties look a little less valuable than they really are. So
well, sure, and calling out just how the market sort of operates. The assessor has a lot of tools at their disposal to research values, to see sales trends and things like that, and the current assessor is very obsessed with very high dollar homes, but doesn't seem to care that much about sort of what happens to the rest of us.
Now that has been a story in the news, is that there was a thing that came out, and I think you might have been a guy who really put this out there, that wow, when you look at the rolls, there's so many new homes that are out there that are over $1 million being built, but we don't have a whole lot on the cheaper end for people to buy, and we're starting to have a renter crisis. I saw where the rents went up in the metro 2% already.
Yeah.
So, and in a place like Oklahoma where we tout being affordable to live, hey, it's so affordable to live here and everything else, that's kind of going away with this. Does the assessor have anything to do with that, or can they do anything?
So I think they do, or could. They assess property values, so they're really up on trends in appraisals and just as properties get bought and sold, like kind of where those investment dollars are going. But also they really can take a very accurate temperature of the market. And so like the point I was making with some of my posts was, on any given day you can pull up the real estate database and find that there are more houses on the market selling for $1 million than there are selling for under $150,000. And when you think about who out here can buy a house, the number of people that are buying $1 million homes is very, very small, but the number of people who might be interested in a house that's livable, that's safe, that's whatever, under $150,000 is a lot of us. So that to me is like, it just, the assessor has a lot of ability to show how the market isn't serving our needs.
Yeah, and the problem with a lot of those more affordable houses is out-of-state investors will come in and buy all those up.
And again, the assessor has all of that data, and they could be using that to kind of pull back the curtain on the real estate market. Because as a realtor, like, we don't, we like to buy and sell homes, we like transactions. Like, we like to see people, buying something and as their life changes, moving to what fits their life better. But when you have investors buying up stuff and sitting on it, when you have sort of slumlords grabbing stuff and holding it till it falls apart, that's not good. No. That's not good for our neighborhoods. It's not good for realtors. And the assessor, again, has all of that data at their fingertips, and the current one doesn't use it.
And so when it comes to your qualifications
Sure.
for assessor, what are those, Nick?
Well, I've been a nonprofit executive now for a couple of years. I've worked in the private sector for many years doing event production management before getting into politics. But my real qualifications now are my real estate background. Like, I'm out developing.
There you go, right there, definitely.
Developing real estate, know the market, know what developers are up against, but then also tax policy.
Okay.
The assessor assesses the taxable value of the home to collect property tax, and that goes to a bunch of different pots, and I think the assessor should be, again, explaining kind of where your money's going and be a watchdog for the taxpayer.
And you absolutely are the guy to do that. Absolutely, you have those qualifications.
Definitely know and love tax policy,
Your tax policy knowledge, your real estate knowledge with being a realtor and an investor helps out a lot too, and just understanding the system really makes you well qualified for being the county assessor of Oklahoma County.
Yep.
And that's my opinion anyway. Probably a lot of people
agree. Well, and I also have degrees in math and economics, so there's a lot of
there you go
work I've been doing to prepare for this.
There you go. Yeah, very well suited for this position, I would say. Anyway, so we covered that, and here in the last portion of this, so you're also you're the director, you're the CEO, director of Oklahoma Progress Now.
Correct.
And it's a nonprofit.
Yes.
And exactly what does that do?
Sure. We're a progressive advocacy organization, so fall under the 501c4 tax code, which means can't deduct donations to us for tax purposes, but we are a nonprofit, and we focus mainly on three things. So doing political content and education, so that's sort of our public-facing thing. We also work with a lot of organizations to try and build capacity and relationships. A lot of groups out there are very siloed. We think it's important to come together and talk about how, education impacts criminal justice reform and how, different issues impact each other. And then the third part is we do some campaign advocacy work. So highlighting concerns about our current governor and other candidates, obviously not mine for clear, obvious reasons, but other races and other campaigns that we're concerned about.
And what makes your organization different than, say, a PAC or a super PAC?
So C4s have to, they're limited in what they can do, so you can't spend more than 50% on campaigns and elections, which we spend very, very little on that. Most of our stuff is, highlighting when government isn't doing what it should be doing, perhaps, but really just trying to speak to political issues. There are tons of these groups on the right. Think about Oklahoma Council for Public Affairs. All sorts of business interest groups that sway very conservative. There's very few on the progressive side doing this sort of work. So, there are issue advocacy groups like the ACLU or the Sierra Club or whoever, but there's very few broad, progressive type groups. So
especially really here in local Oklahoma.
So we're trying to fill that niche. Really trying to be an umbrella group that looks at a lot of different issues.
Man, there really is a void there. You know what I'm noticing, and a lot like this show, which is a YouTube channel. Oklahoma Progress Now has its own YouTube
We
channel.
do.
And you have over 100 subscribers, which makes you a graphite level
Yeah.
YouTube channel. And that's a good thing too, starting to grow right there as well.
Yeah, our main platform is actually on Twitch. So we stream weekly on Twitch and Facebook, kind of a weekly
Okay.
review type show of like politics of the
Okay.
week. So we've got 350, 400 subscribers on Twitch, or followers. So anyway, yeah, we're I think we punch above our weight.
Mhm.
You know, we started fairly small and have grown very incrementally.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's the way to do
it's
it.
interesting.
You know, usually whenever you grow really fast, or those ones that grow really fast, really questionable, and then it's usually fleeting, it's a fad type thing.
Yeah.
You really want that incremental, steady growth. That really puts in the longevity, in my opinion.
That's us.
Yeah, that's you guys right there. So Oklahoma Progress Now, 501c4, non-profit, and a lot, like you said, a lot like the
Kind of the counter to like the Oklahoma
Yeah,
Council for Public
yeah.
Affairs. I mean, this is a group that's been around since the
Yeah.
90s, has a multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
budget, and just farms horrible
I know.
drama. Like, I mean, they're
Well, they do whatever their people that pay them to do.
Sure.
I saw a deal where one of their biggest donations from the last couple of years has been from Epic.
yeah,
So you can see them every time going out and championing for Epic. you
yeah.
know?
They're very big in school choice. They also are, really big on these culture war sorts of
Yeah.
issues. We don't have any donors like
No,
that. I mean,
exactly.
it's all very kind of small dollar, grassroots, small political donors trying to just see things change a little bit.
Yes, they changed a little bit.
Yep.
That's great. So whenever you become the assessor, do you have to give any of that up, or are you still going to be a part of Oklahoma?
I haven't. I'm really focused on just campaigning right now
Mm-hmm.
and trying to reach as many voters as I can. The assessor's job is a full-time job. They're
Yep.
paid very well for,
Mhm.
for what they do. But I've got a lot of capacity in other ways. So
And you have other people involved in
yeah,
the
yeah,
organization.
yeah.
It doesn't have to just be.
We definitely can transition
yeah,
as
exactly.
needed. So
So yeah, good deal. Good deal. And I think, man, we're going to wrap this up right here. We're coming up to the end of the 15 minutes here. Even though it's YouTube, we'll do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nick. So running for assessor. Hopefully you make it. I think you'd be a great one. And Oklahoma Progress Now director, Nick Singer, running here. If you're in Oklahoma County, you should really give Nick a look and really go out and give him your vote for assessor when the time comes around this November.
yeah.
Nick,
My
Like-
website is, just so folks know,
Go
it's
ahead.
nickforok.org. So nickforok.org, and that's also all my social medias. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Nick for OK. So
Excellent.
check it out.
Excellent. Thank you, Nick. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for
Appreciate
being
it.
on the show.
Thanks.
I hope to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
I really do. Thank you, guys. And as always, we'll be seeing you next week.